is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some more Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay for you. And today I'm going to be talking about that dreaded phrase that everyone always seems to get real anal whenever it's mentioned within Resident Evil, and that is the phrase of cut content. And just like all the other remakes that we've had on the RE engine, there has been some form of content that was in the original one that didn't quite make it over to remake. Now granted, obviously this is no RE3 remake problem, and granted, it's not really even an RE2 remake problem either. I think Resident Evil 4, for the most part, I'd say about 95+% of the game, in terms of the main campaign, is basically in the game. This isn't going to be mentioning any extra modes like the mercenaries or the separate ways, but in terms of the main campaign, I'd say about 95% of the main campaign is intact, or if it's not there, it's kind of just replaced or reimagined or done a little bit differently. But there are some things that we're missing, and some things I personally didn't care about, like incendiary nades or the gondolo or stuff like that. But the things I personally care about, I think there's two. One is the PRL 412. I miss that weapon. I really do. Hopefully, wouldn't it be cool if that could be like an unlockable for doing all the things in mercenary mode? Comes out in a couple days. That'd be really awesome. But probably the bigger thing is the U3 boss fight. I remember making a video talking about I wonder how they're going to do this fight, because it was kind of a unusual fight compared to the other ones, and also just an unusual enemy since he just kind of comes out of nowhere with really no build up, and then he's just gone as soon as he appears. But I didn't have to worry about that because apparently he's not in the game. So yep, that's content, a big whole boss fight, not entirely game. Or is he? The only thing, well, what do you mean? Well, one of the things about Resident Evil 4 Remake that I really like is I really like the files. The files really go really in depth with a lot of, not just the people involved, but just the whole lore behind a lot of the creatures, how they were brought about, and it makes the lore really connects a lot better than the OG ever could, and I have to give them a lot of credit. You can learn a lot about the creatures, so much more than the original one. But of all the files, one of the most fascinating ones are the ones that come out of the castle. And this one is one that's easy to miss because a lot of people don't go back in there. But there's one file in particular which actually mentions the U3 in name and stuff, and it's really fascinating. But if you go back to Salazar's throne room, and this is when you get to chapter 12, you go over right in the beginning of the room, go over to the right, you'll have this file called Chronicles of Pursuit, and it talks about the U3 and his own creation, or I should say her own creation, because apparently it was a housekeeper who volunteered to be a part of the experiment. And on the next page here, he's basically called the U3 as well and being awakened. And basically the U3s, for the most part, are the Verdugos in this game, because that's basically the right hand, the servants of Salazar, and also has another name, the Hound Placenta. So I think that's really cool. It's not just a random creature, but actually has a backstory, which is awesome. But here's where the unusual part happens: is that we fight the Verdugo, the one of them, but unlike in the OG. The other Verdugo in the original Resident Evil 4 just merged with Salazar, and you fought this big gigantic monster. Here, you never see the other one again, and then you just shoot Salazar in a boss fight, and he just transforms. So it begs the question, what happened to the other henchmen? What happened to the other Verdugo, or the U3? And that's where I just think, honestly, it's probably going to be coming back as a boss fight for separate ways. It just makes sense. Now, the real question here that I have is it just going to be another Verdugo, or is it going to slowly mutate and transform and look more like the U3 that we know from the original? And is it just going to be done in a castle, or is it going to somehow like chase you in the island? But that's a real good question there. I don't know how they're going to do that, or they're two separate entities. Is it going to be like, this other thing is going to be similar to Verdugo, and there actually is going to be something that's exactly like the U3, or is there just going to be one entity combined together? Either way, I'm really fascinated and interesting to see what they do. But obviously, with the data mining of several ways, pretty much, even though they haven't confirmed, we know it's coming. I mean, we know, but seeing all this stuff that could easily be in there, it's like they wouldn't mention the file if it wasn't going to be in here in the first place. So I'm really curious to see how they do that. and how to utilize it. Because if it's anything like the original U3 boss fight, it would make sense having Ada with the hook shot and then getting out of there with the cages when they're falling, if that's how the boss fight's done. But either way, we're going to just have to speculate until we get some type of official word or confirmation. But that is going to be it. Let me know what you guys think. You think the U3 is going to pop up in separate ways? You think it's going to be exactly like the original, or is it going to be more of a Verdugo twist on it? Let me know down in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace.